Brad Stevens is about to walk a tightrope over a pit of financial fire, and he might be carrying Kristaps Porzingis as a sacrificial offering. As the Celtics prepare for a summer of high-stakes decision-making, it's clear the goal isn't just to stay competitive. It's to reshape the roster while dodging the guillotine that is the NBA's second luxury tax apron. And that might mean making a deal with the devil himself. The Los Angeles Lakers, Mass Live's Brian Robb, recently floated a trade scenario that feels like it belongs in an alternate universe. Boston ships out Kristaps Porzingis, and in return receives Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber, and Shake Milton. On paper, it's a salary-shedding maneuver. In reality, it's a shockwave. Let's be clear, dumping a 7.3 unicorn for a trio of expiring contracts, all bench-caliber players, is the NBA equivalent of trading in a luxury car for a handful of used scooters. Porzingis might be injury-prone, yes, but when he is healthy, he's a 20-plus point scorer who protects the rim, stretches the floor, and fits like a glove next to Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. His presence is part of what makes the Celtics unguardable. Losing him isn't a tweak, it's a rupture. And the kicker, the trade, would send him to LA, the franchise that has been locked in an ideological and emotional war with Boston for generations. Trading with the Lakers isn't just unconventional, it's borderline sacrilegious. Imagine watching Porzingis catch lobs from LeBron in purple and gold, while Boston scrapes together wins with a patched-up second unit. The reasoning behind Robb's proposal is transactional. The Celtics would gain flexibility. Vincent and Kleber's contracts are easier to flip at the trade deadline. It's about optionality, liquidity, leverage. But that logic ignores the soul of the sport. This isn't just about cap sheets and tax aprons. It's about cohesion, continuity, and identity. Porzingis isn't just a player. He's a strategic pillar. Removing him creates a power vacuum in the front court that Kleber simply can't fill. There's also a deeper strategic question. If Boston is truly in win-now mode, as everyone in the organization insists, how does this move help now? Trading away a top-tier front-court talent in his prime for spare parts and future possibilities sounds more like a move for a team trying to rebuild, not contend. Maybe Stevens sees something nobody else does. Maybe there's another shoe about to drop, but if this deal ever gets close to reality, one thing is certain. It won't just reshape the Celtics. It'll redefine how much they're willing to gamble to avoid the taxman. And it might just ignite a firestorm from a fan base that doesn't forget or forgive deals with the enemy. The Boston Celtics are staring down the barrel of a brutal offseason, one that could redefine the core of their championship-caliber roster. This isn't just a tricky summer, it's a financial minefield that could force Brad Stevens to make moves no front office ever wants to make, sacrificing proven veterans for financial survival. The cold reality, Boston could be crushed under the weight of luxury tax penalties, potentially coughing up north of $238 million in total salary and tax obligations by the start of the 2025-26 season. That figure isn't just unsustainable, it's catastrophic. And when you start connecting the dots, the writing's on the wall. Someone has to go. That someone might be Jrue Holiday. Not because he isn't valuable, not because he's past his prime, though his decline has been noticeable, but because the economics of contention in the NBA have never been more punishing. Holiday, a 34-year-old former champion and elite defender, is one of the few movable contracts that could return real assets without detonating team chemistry overnight. The situation is so volatile that moving Holiday, a respected locker room voice and playoff-tested warrior, isn't just likely, it's becoming a necessity. Bleacher Report's Andy Bailey floated a trade scenario that feels more logical than far-fetched. Holiday to the Clippers in exchange for Norman Powell, Chris Dunn, and rookie Cam Christie. On paper, it's a reshuffling of mid-tier assets, but dig deeper, and it's a clear admission by Boston that their current financial model is unsustainable, even for a franchise drowning in banners. It's a brutal indictment of the NBA's new collective bargaining agreement. The second apron isn't just a deterrent, it's a guillotine for super teams. Boston's success has bred expense, and the cost of keeping everyone happy, Tatum, Brown, White, Porzingis, and Holiday, is starting to fracture the foundation of what was supposed to be a dynasty in waiting. From the Clippers' side, this makes all the sense in the world. They nearly toppled the Nuggets in a 7-game dogfight, and Denver was the only team that seriously rattled OKC this postseason. Add Jrue Holiday to a rotation with Kawhi, Leonard, and possibly James Harden if he returns, and you suddenly have a team that's not just relevant, but dangerous. It's worth remembering, the Clippers already tried to land Holiday last summer. He was one of their top targets before. Portland rerouted him to Boston. That failed pursuit left scars. A chance to bring him home to Los Angeles? That's redemption, and insurance in case Harden bolts in free agency. Of course, Holiday's 2024-25 campaign wasn't his finest. He posted just 11.1 points, 4.3 boards, and 3.9 assists per game in a reduced role. But you're not trading for his box score. You're trading for his playoff savvy, his surgical defense, his ability to calm chaos in tight moments. Exactly what LA lacked when their season imploded. For Boston, trading Holiday might be step one in a more painful recalibration. This front office has already shown it isn't afraid of ruthless efficiency. Look no further than the Marcus Smart trade. But this move would be different. This would be a concession to the system, a forced retreat from an arms race the Celtics. We're winning on the court, but losing on the books. And make no mistake, this would not be the last domino. Once a team starts slicing from the top, it rarely stops at one clean cut. The Celtics are not in crisis yet, but they're about to make decisions that could turn stability into uncertainty overnight. The margin for error is gone. The luxury tax has become the real MVP of the offseason, and he's playing for the other team. Boston's offseason just took a dark turn, and Malcolm Brogdon might be the unexpected lifeline. The Boston Celtics are staring into the abyss this offseason. What was shaping up to be a championship or bust campaign came crashing down the moment Jayson Tatum's Achilles snapped in Game 4 against the Knicks. With their franchise cornerstone sidelined indefinitely, the Celtics are no longer contenders. They're survivors. And in times of crisis, survival means making bold, even uncomfortable, decisions. Enter Malcolm Brogdon. Yes, that Malcolm Brogdon. The same player who won 6th Man of the Year in Boston, only to be shown the door in one of the most emotionally tone-deaf trade attempts in recent memory. The Celtics practically threw him onto the first plane to LA in a failed 3-team deal for Kristaps Porzingis, without even checking if he was healthy enough to pass a physical. When that imploded, they pivoted and dumped him in Portland like excess luggage. The damage was done, trust was fractured, Brogdon was betrayed. And yet, here we are, a team stripped of its most indispensable player, a front office with limited cap flexibility, and a system that desperately needs a floor general with poise, maturity, and a steady hand. The irony is almost poetic. The very man they once discarded could now be their best hope for relevance in the post-Tatum landscape. This isn't just about sentimentality. Brogdon brings rare traits that are even more valuable now. He's not flashy, he's not loud, but he's surgical. With Boston's offensive ecosystem in chaos, his ability to control tempo, make the smart pass, and knock down shots from anywhere on the court isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. He doesn't need 20 shots a game to impact winning. He needs trust, something he never fully got in Boston, and something the Celtics may now be desperate enough to give. Look beyond the numbers. Brogdon has played in toxic environments and still delivered professional, controlled basketball. He's thrived in dysfunction, and after injury-riddled stints in Portland and Washington, his value is at an all-time low. Precisely the kind of buy low opportunity the Celtics need to exploit. He won't cost a fortune. He might even be willing to prove a point. This move wouldn't make headlines. It wouldn't sell jerseys. But it could keep the Celtics afloat while they recalibrate in a season that now looks more like damage control than title contention. There's no replacing Jayson Tatum, but bringing back a grown-up in the room, that's a start. Sometimes, the smartest move is the one that forces you to swallow your pride. Malcolm Brogdon knows what that feels like. Maybe now it's Boston's turn.